kind of doing a first impressions overview of the KWA VM4 Ronin. This is the 10-inch SBR model. It's basically a KWA AEG with, from what I can tell, just about all the kinks of the other KWA AEGs worked out. What I mean by that is I used to have a KWA SR7. So barrel went out to about right there, normal quad rail, great gun, fantastic for CQB, great trigger response, great rate of fire. The problems with it was a 2GX version of the KWA. So the hop-up bucking, it needed to be broken in. And when I say broken in, I mean before you could take the gun out to play, you had to shoot about 1,000 to 1,500 rounds through it just to get the thing to shoot straight and to hop properly. I don't know why they did that. Switched out that bucking immediately. Put a G&G green in there, took some modification, but I did it. And then it was shooting wonderfully. Even so though, at about 380 FPS with the SR7, I was only getting about 50-55 yards of range. I say that because this thing, out of the box, I tuned it to .28 Elite Force BBs. I'm getting at least... I'm going to be conservative here, because AEGs, they differ from person to person, you know, not all of them are the same. There are production flaws, all that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm getting 65, 70 yards out of this thing stock with .28 gram BBs. And I don't mean like total range, I'm talking effective range practically. I was shooting at night, and I was using my Inforce flashlight to kind of trace the BBs, so I was getting a pretty good idea of how far they were going. But man, I'm impressed by this thing. I'll just put it out there. I am very impressed with this. Maybe it's because I've been using a gas gun for too long. And by the way, I sold all my gas stuff. I can't take it anymore, guys. They're too finicky. They don't work in the cold Ohio weather. I can't do it. This thing, though, I am really impressed with it. So let's get the externals out of the way. The only thing that I have put on this that isn't stock is the light and the red dot. So we have the, however long this thing is, key mod, made by PTS, I believe. You have a mag pull style grip, very comfortable, stippled, I think. You have an ambidextrous fire selector, very nice, actually works. And you have this wonderful stock up here. I say it's really wonderful because the battery storage, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but the battery storage is absolutely huge. I mean, it's a stick LiPo battery, 11.1, it just goes in there. Bit it like that, bit it like that, it doesn't matter. So the externals are really nice, nothing creaks, nothing wobbles except for the stock right here, but that's to be expected, it's an extendable stock. It's full metal, everything's really nice. Now, my one gripe with the externals is the fire selector here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Kind of wiggles back and forth like that. And I don't mean like wiggles like that. I mean it physically comes up and down horizontally from the receiver, which is a little concerning to me, but so far I haven't had any problems with it. Real things to note though are the internals. So the best part about these things, in my mind, is the fact that it's something to do with the wiring. I don't know the technical details of it, but it kind of reroutes current from the trigger contacts down to somewhere in the pistol grip. They have like a little heat something. I don't know how it works. but it's something that directs current from the trigger contacts to whatever it is, and it supposedly extends the life of your trigger contacts by like 100 times or something like that. So it's like, well, it's not like having a MOSFET, but it does extend the trigger contact's life, apparently. That's what's advertised, that's what I've heard. So that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. Everything else internally is roughly the same. The only differences are if you take off the buffer tube, you can use this tool, which is included with the gun, to decrease or increase your FPS. It's not a quick change spring. You can't change the spring in there, but you can decrease and increase the FPS. So with the hop up turned on, set for 0.28 BBs, I'm getting about 350 FPS out of this thing with 0.2s. I say that because I tested it immediately with 0.28s, and then I went to chrono it with 0.2s, and I'm not going to fiddle with a hop up. Now, one important thing to note though, the hop up is, I can't remember if that's called a wheel or the dial. Either way, it's the better version of it. It's a better version of the version 2 hop up, I should say. And it does click into place, actually. Also, magazines. Talk about magazines. So it comes with this amazing magazine. I say amazing because, one, it has a little cutoff feature. So when your magazine is empty, if you're using these magazines, you can use just about any other magazine you want. But if you're using these magazines in particular, the bolt catch, you have to hit it when you change magazines to get the gun to start shooting again. It doesn't have recoil, but it's a nice little feature. You don't have to do anything to disable the bolt catch if you're just using normal KWA, K120s, or any other generic M4 magazine. Another great thing about these, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little switch right here. It's like, if it's towards the 30, you have 30 rounds in the magazine before you load it up. Like, so right now I can only load 30 BBs in here. Click it like this, you got 120 rounds. This is wonderful to me, because in CQB games, typically I only run 30 rounds. That's what I like to do because I don't like spraying and praying for the most part. But if I'm at a milsim game, if I'm at an American milsim game, I'm going to want 120 rounds. That's just, there's too many targets. So, yeah. Other things, the trigger response is really nice, even coming from a gas blowback. The trigger response with an 11.1 LiPo, it is a 20C 1200 mAh LiPo. Balkan, I think. Yeah, Balkan. It's getting good trigger response. The magazine doesn't even keep up with the rate of fire, actually, with this battery. It was pretty funny. And yeah, that's about it. Range and accuracy are the highlights, I think. It was performing very well for me. I mean, just really well. And I've only practiced shot with it. I've only shot it in my backyard in the woods a little bit, but I mean, it's performing really, really well so far.